This is Sybert signing into Kane's Wrath on the map Tournament Highlands on the left side of this best of 5. As the yellow Zocom, this is Lidoon. Lidoon? I don't know. On the right side as the cyan, also Zocom, it's Futurama. Wow, Zocom versus Zocom. And you should already know this is the Random v Random Nicesir $300 tournament. This is semifinal B. And of course, these players are competing for a shot at the finals. $160 first place, $80 second place, and then $30 for third. So even the loser of this best of 5, ooh, looks like Futurama getting the drop on that one squad over here on the left side of the map, or on the north side of the map. It looks like, well, same thing happened in the south. Lidoon gets the drop. Even if you lose in this series, you still have a shot at $30 and making... Ooh. Everyone has done this at some point. It doesn't mean it sucks any less. Oh. When it's an expansion refinery, that's mitigated somewhat by the fact you've already got, hopefully, a rock-solid economy before that, but... So, if Lidoon loses game 1, we will just say this is why. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if he, like, miscontrols 10 minutes down the line and he, like, totally cripples Futurama's economy and then he miscontrols and loses the game because of that. We will say it is because of this unfortunate refinery placement. Which reminds me of that, actually I think it was, no, now I don't know if it was versus Drive or versus Futurama, but that Master Leaf game on Sick City where he placed his refinery incorrectly in a very similar way to this. So you gotta hand it to Lidoon when you play a game after making, like, it's a mistake, but it's weird to call it that because it's like, it's not like he goofed up. He's done this probably 1,000 times or more correctly. He's probably placed a refinery correctly like 3,000 times. And then your fingers just slip once in a tournament game. And then that's like the one time that everyone remembers you. Anyway, Zocom versus Zocom, a potentially awesome mirror matchup, and of course it's random v random, so we have got some, ooh, Harvester taking a little bit of damage. We have got some potential for all sorts of reasons as to why did you lose the game. It's like, yeah, it's random v random, it's not my fault, you know, I got dealt a bad faction or something, or a faction that I don't like. But since both players are playing with that disadvantage, it is always fun to see a forced random situation, especially since many of the good matches that you see, people are playing random anyways, but of course it's not like a tournament series where you get to see all of the games in that series. They just, you know, send off the one good replay in like an 8-match game or an 8-game series that they played with someone else, and it's like, ah, we're playing random and 7 of the games were no good, but one of them was really good, and then that's the one that you end up seeing. Not a whole lot going on for these guys. Fairly standard game. Futurama going fairly standard. Lidoon going fairly standard. And they both did the thing where they foxholed the other person's base. Gets you a little bit of vision. Causes your opponent a little bit of annoyance. And you can do stuff like this. Put a little bit of damage on a power plant. Blue Tib has been stolen, at least in the south a little bit there. You got to see Lidoon's Harvester doing the long-distance drive over there, grabbing a bit of Blue Tib, and then heading back. One Pitbull does go down for Lidoon, although these guys are not going for, like, super Pitbull armies, or at least Futurama isn't, as he's been producing Predator tanks for a minute. Also goes into the command post, most likely AP ammo on the way, and actually getting a couple of rifleman squads up here in the north. Could be going for a bit of an infantry transition to the north just as a defensive force, which is not necessarily a bad idea. Also, okay, going into the armory. So could be going Tib field suits. Going to be calling in reinforcements, things developing interestingly. Of course, armory I feel like is a little more common for Zocom because those Tib field suits are pretty darn good. And, you know, GDI, you can man spam with them a little bit. Ooh, hello, airfield. You can man spam with them a little bit and you can get compo armor, but Tib field suits are... Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no! Well, it looks like one rocket squad did survive. This is a lot of pit bulls, though, and of course they did light up those ox transports very quickly. See that? Holy cow, only 50% damage. They've taken that many shots from a rifleman squad, and it only took their health down to 50%. Right there, that's how long it takes with composite armor and with no AP ammo. Not composite armor, with tib field suits and no AP ammo. That's how long it takes a rifleman squad to kill a single rocket squad. Which, you know, all things considered, it should take a little while longer, but I don't know about that much longer. This single rocket harvester up in the north taking a lot of damage, but not so much damage that he's not going to make it away with a little bit of something. He's got like 1 pixel of blue Tiberium, which doesn't count for much, considering he drove all that way out there to get it. The Sonic Shatterers, or Zone Shatterers, out on the map. Always nice to see them. Massive splash damage potential, but not necessarily that we ever see it. But they do have that splash damage potential. Nice reveal of the army. A very well-balanced diet for Lidoon. He's got lots of riflemen. He's got a decent number of rocket squads as well. And Pitbull's going to be hunting around the map as well. They didn't quite manage to catch out the MCV. And a sonic emitter is one of those things that, if it goes just right, then you destroy all of the Pitbulls in one go. I don't actually know where those Firehawks went. They Stratofightered out to somewhere, but it was mostly just to get away from the Pitbulls. As this is turning a little bit messy here, Futurama going to be losing one of those Firehawks, but he has to deal with this huge army now at his gates. He saw this a minute or two ago, but he did not have necessarily the ability to stop it before it got right on his front door. Well, that MCV is gone, as I hope you are not investing in MCVs for Futurama. Now, did he get one sonic emitter out here on the front line, which will get a couple of shots off, but not enough to break the army of Lidoon, who is going to be able to just crush through if nothing stops him. And a couple of rocket squads on the front line may get crushed by that harvester. Zorka's also mixed in here as well, and Firehawk's taking a couple of shots at them. This Marv doing some big splash damage with its main gun, and doing a good job of avoiding damage for a little while. Now, actually, a lot of the guns have turned onto the Marv, which currently has no units inside of it, and Futurama is going to be hard-pressed to stop this attack. An engineer pops on out, but it gets gunned down before it can actually make it into the Marv. The Reclamator hub gets eliminated. These Firehawks just absorbing so much damage. Unfortunately, no one told Futurama that Lidoon's units don't have to buy their own ammo. And backing up further and further up, that was the second MCV from Futurama, so he's going to be doing okay in terms of he can actually build base defenses to hold off this army. I guess he was dropping down additional barracks. I just didn't quite realize that that's what the case was. And this may actually be an MCV sell from Lidoon. Yeah, I think he actually... So he sold his MCV. So this is actually a better situation for Futurama to survive than I would have thought. And actually, pretty much all of the armor is almost now eliminated. Well, actually, no, Grenadier Squad going to be making their way to the front line and just going to be trying to grenade down those rocket squads. It didn't quite work out for them. They did end up getting eliminated, as even the AA battery absorbing a little bit of damage there as the Marv backs further and further up. AP ammo on these watchtowers helping to thin the herd. There's just so many rocket squads, but so many of them are at half health or below. This attack is just moments away from being eliminated, but it's still here doing a bunch of damage, and with the reinforcements being primarily infantry, this attack may just fall to nothing as it gets picked apart by the defenses, but also by the Marv hiding behind the buildings, retreating behind the buildings one after another, as these harvesters getting caught up in the parking lot outside of these refineries, not quite being able to drop off. What? Futurama with an MCV on his opponent's side of the map could even just, like, drop a barracks and some engineers to try and grab something away from his opponent. When your opponent has built 3 MCVs, well, built 2 MCVs and had 3 total in this game, and you've got none, things might be a little bit troublesome. The army is still kind of impressive, but it was more impressive when the Marv didn't have any engineers inside of it, when the Marv hadn't already survived for so long. And I mean, getting himself up to a single vet status now with double engineer, double zone raider inside of it. This MCV may actually just be going down, but it's not even the last MCV of Futurama. And Futurama, he's getting scouted by this rocket harvester, and actually he spots the MCV of his opponent being rebuilt. So he does know that that is a possibility. The army is evaporating. Lidoon unable to continue his advantage forward. He was unable to actually kill the Marv, which the fact that the Marv was just able to continue to back up and do more and more damage over time is a testament to Futurama just barely keeping it alive. And yeah, this MCV is here. It's not really doing anything at the current moment. I would laugh so hard if he drops a sonic emitter and he gets the kill on the MCV with a sonic emitter. Once again, the Marv stepping a little bit too far forward will take some damage, but again, I'm less worried about this because Futurama has done such a good job of keeping this Marv alive previously. There aren't really a lot of EMP options out on the field for Lidoon to lock it down, which means if Futurama just keeps repeating the same move, draw the army into the fire, back up, heal up your Marv, draw the army into the fire, back up, heal up your Marv, he can go for almost forever and just efficiently trade almost no matter what is on the other side. Lidoon doesn't have, well, Zocom, no Juggernauts to be able to deal with that Marv more easily. Even being forced to sell off that War Factory, I have no idea what Futurama's plan for that MCV is. And now when you're losing harvesters in the middle of the map where you shouldn't be losing harvesters, things are looking even worse for Lidoon. Futurama able to pull back from that really aggressive attack that Lidoon was putting out into the middle of the map. And I mean, he pushed Futurama back, but ultimately the strength of the Marv was never broken, and now he's trying to steal an MCV, which is kind of funny because obviously there was some kind of plan for Futurama to do something with this MCV, but he just hasn't done anything with it at the current moment. Although, when you can base defense your opponent from two sides, that is a difficult situation to find yourself fighting out of. And for Lidoon, he technically has a shot, but the MCV cell for Futurama came after the tech up to, or it wasn't even an MCV cell because he lost the MCV on the front line, but he still had an MCV back at home. So the MCV loss for Futurama was after he was at Tier 3, after he was at even Tier 4, the Marv, out on the field. So it was a very different tech landscape than the Tier 2 sell-off of Lidoon, where he got out a couple of zone shatterers, and then I think he maybe even sold off his Tier 2. But he sold off his MCV, certainly, and he was just stuck on that Tier 1 / Tier 1.5 or Tier 2 stuff that he was building, and he just didn't have the strength to last. Lot of Orcas can put out a lot of damage, and that took a huge chunk out of the Marv's health. If he can do that again, then he could eliminate the Marv, and then he would have a fighting chance, although in this case, he's given up the middle of the map to 3 refineries, 5 harvesters of Futurama, and yeah, Lidoon has been defeated. The writing on the wall for a little while, and I mean, part of that is just not being able to deal with that Marv. Like, that units graph, obviously it looks super impressive for Lidoon, but this is like, what is this, 80% missile squads? And then it's just, And Futurama, yeah, he lost a big chunk of stuff, but he always had that Marv. That Marv was always the keystone in his defense. And I guess they were pretty even on economy, but it doesn't even matter just because, like, the efficiency is off the charts for Futurama. Yeah, his favorite unit may have been the Missile Squad, but the Marv was his MVP without a doubt. Anyways, that will do it for game number 1. Futurama with a strong showing. Lidoon, I loved that mid-game aggression, that punch right through the middle of the map, but ultimately the decisions of Futurama were a little bit better. He was able to draw that army out long enough that the Marv did enough damage and then backed up to his actual MCV, and that will do it for this game. So let's find out what happens in game number 2, which takes us to Tournament Odyssey. On the left side, as the yellow Marked of Kane, this is Lidoon. And on the right side, as the cyan, this is Futurama. What are the chances that we get 2 random mirrors like this? 2 Zocom, 2 Marked of Kane. It's 1 in 81, right? That you get a random mirror in Kane's Wrath. So then, I guess 1 in 81 and 1 in 81. I don't know if it's... Is that an exponential thing when it happens twice in a row, or is it literally just 1 in 162? Someone who understands math better than me, tell me in the comments. Anyways, what are the chances? Double Zocom, double Marked of Kane. Also, if we get double Reaper after this, then that will be the trifecta. Well, I guess Zocom might be actually played more than Steel Talons, but it would still be a trifecta of some of the weaker factions, or what is considered weaker by some people in Kane's Wrath. Maybe some of the less played, less intentionally played factions. Maybe that's what we should say. Is the factions which are played intentionally less. War factories and bikes coming out from both these guys. 2 or 3 bikes isn't too scary, isn't too crazy. 4 or 5 bikes are when things start to get potentially very dangerous. And it's not going to be a 5th bike as the follow-up for Futurama. It is going to be a later 4th bike, and then it looks like a 5th bike follow-up from Lidoon. So... could be lots of EMPs. I don't know what that stuttering is. These guys are just jumping all over the place. But this could be some serious EMP action if the bikes get caught. If Lidoon's bikes get caught, then this could be really problematic for him because they're relatively equal numbers. The War Factory actually does get shut down, which kind of negates the home field advantage that Lidoon should have. But Futurama turns around. So he locked down the MCV for a moment. He locked down the War Factory for a moment. Not a big deal. His expansion is faster. Futurama's expansion is faster, that is. And it looks like he may have a refinery queued up, which means his economy could be a... Oh, no. Ooh. Is it a big deal? No. Does it hurt? Yes. Is it very annoying to have happen to you? Absolutely. And it's like, in a game, all things being equal... You EMP your opponent's MCV on the way to their natural expansion, not a big deal. 9 times out of 10. Maybe even 99 times out of 100. Not a big deal. But when you follow it up with, like, you got EMP'd earlier, your expansion is behind, and then it gets a little bit further behind, it's just so annoying. It's not always that things make or break you. Sometimes it's those little annoyances that if you're, like, 5% tilted going into a game, you know, because in the first game you placed your refinery wrong, which is like something that you've done correctly 10,000 times and done incorrectly 4 times. Oh, catches the bike as well. Again, does it really matter? It shouldn't, but it's annoying. Yeah, you place a refinery correctly 10,000 times, and then you do it wrong once, and then that gets you like 1% tilt. And then all of this other stuff happens, and now instead of being like 5% tilted after losing a game, you're like 35% tilted. And you're like, why am I even playing this dumb game? And then you throw your keyboard across the room. MCV Cell, this is a bit of an all-in from Lidoon. I don't know that he was planning on it being an all-in when he started this game, but he has found himself, maybe his hand has been forced into an all-in situation, and this is not the typical infrastructure that you would have for a bike buggy all-in when you're going super aggro and the engineer gets caught out in the middle of the map, which will cue to Futurama. This is probably an MCV Cell. Otherwise, he just produced an engineer for no purpose, built an additional hand of Nod, and then decided to get that out onto the field. And again, the EMPs could be massive on either side here, depending on who actually lands them. But for right now, Lidoon doesn't look like he's got any extra Awakened squads around the place. So he's got 2 refineries. He's got... No, this is it. Okay, so never mind. He's going to call it. It was like, he doesn't look like he has good bike-buggy numbers. Like, he doesn't have an overwhelming bike-buggy force compared to Futurama. Futurama may have actually had more at that moment. And then it's like, and he also doesn't have EMPs, so it's like, ooh. Well, you can see he had a big spike in units. I guess when you sell your buildings, those count as additional units. So you have a big spike in units, which the fact that selling 6 buildings or whatever caused that much of a spike tells you how unsure he was of his army. That will do it for game number 2. Lidoon, I believe in you. I believe that you can do this. Although based on these first 2 games, I find it difficult to believe that he's going to perform a reverse all kill, that he's going to come back that in a 3-0 fashion. But we'll find out in game number 3, which takes us to Smashed Dust Bowl. I forgot about this map, and I love that it is back. I love the aesthetic of this map, the kind of bluey look that it's got. Anyways, in the north, as the yellow Steel Talons, this is Lidoon. I forgot which GDI he was. That's why I had to click that Rifleman squad. Anyways, in the south, as the Cyan Black Hand, this is Futurama. Up 2-0 in this series. As you guys can see, there's a little wall around your tib spike. So even though Dust Bowl has been smashed, the Tiberium spike capture has actually been stabilized. That's the one thing that didn't get smashed in the smashing of Dust Bowl. I love the blue field in the middle. I love that the buildings have been cleared out a little bit, but there are still some buildings. You know, you got a couple of garrisonable structures that are viable. I just dig this map. I like it. Lidoon placing his refinery correctly, feeling very nice about that. Always gotta feel good. And again, I'm not familiar with Lidoon. I don't know if in a normal best of 5 if he would be dropping 2 games to Futurama like we saw in this case. So it could be that he's just feeling like, oh, Futurama was always going to beat me. I had no chance anyways. But it also can be that, like, I should be able to win versus this guy. And those can be both very different mindsets going into a series. One where all of your mistakes just pile up, and then the other one where it's like, I made some mistakes, but I still have a fighting chance. So, I'm not sure what Lidoon's mindset was going into this series, but certainly at this point, he's probably feeling a little difficult, a little sad at his situation. Guess it was an operations center cell? Oh, he got the upgrade on the power plant. He's not moving his MCV. So that's what that Black Hand Squad running around the map is. I was like, well, in Black Hand Squad, normally it means that, like, you know, Reckoner is on the way or something. But his MCV, he wanted to get out the second refinery on 1 power plant. I'm not sure what Futurama's long-term plan was there, but could go ahead and flame down that structure, yeah. Even hop inside of it himself and use it to kill that Rifleman squad. But the tip spike is going to be the target. The focus of Futurama is up with those 2 refineries, and the short walk, of course, to your natural expansion on the Dust Bowl map. But these 2 guys are relatively even in economy. I think it took a little bit longer for Futurama to get his economy up and running, fully saturated. But, of course, now he is the only one with a tib spike on this map. Steel Talons, of course, with the mobile repair transports. We can always hope in our heart of hearts. Ooh! You steal a blue tib, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you steal a blue tib and the blue tib kills ya. Because bikes will kill you. And that is that. That's a very old phrase that they say in my home country, so. But we can always hope when we've got a little MRT action from a Steel Talons player that they're going to jump a bunch of rocket troopers into those MRTs, that they are going to get an airfield and they are going to call for transport, and then we are going to have flying, repairing, basically APC attack vehicles, and that is something that we always love to see that we rarely see. Secret Shrine gets sold off. Of course, Confessor upgrade has been purchased, as you can see, giving that lovely building, killing. Oh, Harvester goes down in the middle of the map to these pit bulls, so very nicely done there by Lidoon, striking back 1 for 1 in a Harvester-killing ratio with Futurama. This MRT healing his Pitbull friends around him instead of healing himself. But he did survive the attack from the bike, so he is going to be absolutely fine. But of course, getting that Black Disciple upgrade, giving yourself a Black Hand member at the front of every infantry squad. I almost said militant squad, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but at the front of every infantry squad gives you so much power in so many situations. Natural expansion's up and running for both of these guys. Wolverine out on the field as well, just to help clear up the infantry. And when you got Black Hand infantry heading your way, then you do definitely need a couple of Wolverines. Hopefully he's got AP ammo on the way as well. It's about halfway done. So he has to buy a couple more seconds before he can shred this infantry a bit more quickly. 2 Wolverines out and running around. Natural expansion economies up and running, and Operations Center now up and running somewhat more permanently for Futurama. But a gentleman's agreement between these guys after a rough first couple of games for Lidoon. Well, game 1 wasn't so rough, but he had that refinery at the beginning, which maybe he's more resilient than me. But if I did that, I would be like, game's over. I'm bad. But he may have been a little more stable than me. And he, again, game 1, he lost, but he still had that mid-game punch. So this game looking a lot more equal and a lot more even. Wow, he went all the way up to mortars on his pit bulls, which, sometimes it does result in a little bit of friendly fire. But Tip Spike does go down. Extra boost of destruction. And I was just surprised that he had Tier 3 up that quickly. MCV on the move to the 3rd base. I assume railguns are being purchased. As the pit bulls rush in, they get themselves 1 harvester kill. A couple of pit bulls going down to the bikes, but a 2nd harvester may go... No, maybe not. Ooh, those pit bulls. I don't know, a lot of pit bulls that went down. 1, maybe 2 harvesters were eliminated in that engagement, and the pit bulls are no more. Always nice when you can harass and escape with a couple of units to get on out of there. In the middle of the map, Wolverines, an MRT, and a Mammoth tank roll in to the blue field. More Mammoths on the way from Lidoon, who is now going to be setting up a 3rd base relatively soon. It doesn't look like... Oh, he got adaptive armor right out of the gate. He didn't actually get... railguns first. So railguns are considerably more expensive, but they've got their price for a reason. In this case, he probably wish he had railguns when he's going up against this Obelisk of Light, which first couple of shots weren't really on the Mammoth tank. So 1 Obelisk down very nicely. And I assume, this is a multiple MCV kind of situation. Although Bike's going to be swinging into the natural expansion of Lidoon, killing a couple of harvesters there. As you can see, the Tib Catalyst Missile also going to be locking down an entire refinery and killing it as 2 more harvesters get eliminated by these Bikes. And no, actually, the harvester does survive for a moment longer before the infantry show up to kill it. And looks like the charged particle beams will be what actually do it in. And at the same time, losing all of those harvesters is okay if you can do massive damage to your opponent. In this case, 2 Obelisk and Charged Particle Beam Shredder turrets are starting to work their way through this GDI army. These Steel Talons are maybe not steely enough to stand up against this base of Futurama. And it would be different if Futurama hadn't killed all of the harvesters of Lidoon. I mean, the guy might have literally no harvesters left on the map. Oh my gosh, the guy has literally no harvesters left on the map. Did he transfer all of the harvesters from his main base? He has no harvesters somehow, someway, and a flame tank closing in on his base. Oh, yikes. This is a difficult situation to be in if you are Lidoon. Your 3rd expansion has been completely shut down. You've got a flame tank about to burn its way through your main base. 2 flame tanks even. And Lidoon has been defeated. Yikes. A relatively quick 3-0. Game number 1, a fighting chance. Game number 3, a definite opportunity. But a slip up there. And that was it. Yeah, literally flatlined. Those Bikes got everything. And it's like, one of 2 things. You either need a massive army already out on the field, or you need to be able to deal equal damage to your opponent in just 9 minutes. Lidoon has been defeated. Futurama steps into the finals of the Nicesir Random v. Random tournament. We are going to be taking a look at that next Thank you all very much for watching, and this is Sybert signing out.